Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here today. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among many other things. Now we're taking a look here at TitanSwap. This was a big recommendation from my community here recently to go ahead and check it out. I can see why it's kind of topping the charts with the most, the most price action right now compared to a lot of other coins. So thank you for bringing this to my attention, and just know this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. You should always do your own research. And if you want to do less research, perhaps consider joining my Telegram community. There's a lot of good information there, as well as my Patreon. I do have an account there for my premium Patreon that allows for you to receive signals 3 to 5 per week for a good entry point and best practice. So reference that in your own time. Now is probably one of the better times to consider that, just based on the way that Patreon handles its payment methods. Okay, so just check that out again in your own time. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and check it out. Let's get to it. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look at TitanSwap. And before we do, we always take a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum first, just to get a baseline of the market so you know exactly what's going on, right? Because you want to always make an informed decision when you jump into the market without just arbitrarily getting in without knowing everything. So that's why we look at Bitcoin first, okay? So just taking a look at Bitcoin here, this is TradingView desktop application. I use the 200-day moving average here and the 50-day moving average. These are the simple moving averages. They work the best on larger time frames. So this is a 4-hour chart. Let's go ahead and take a closer look here at Bitcoin now. First of all, just to note, we have a major resistance at 42,000, also one at 41,000, major support at 30,000, also 31,000. So we're kind of working ourselves in this channel, but we're in this lower channel right now, just below 36,500. That's essentially a major resistance point right now. So we'll see if we can come back up and test that. But for now, we are up over the 50-day moving average, which is fantastic. We still have yet to surpass the 200, but of course, we just need some more time before that happens. A little more consolidation. And also note too, this is just a, I can go ahead and get rid of this. This was actually a little profit target there for my signal group. Took a nice 4.5% in roughly 24-hour period. So good stuff there. Link in the description below if you want to reference that. I send out signals weekly, 3 to 5 signals per week. All right. Now, as far as Bitcoin is concerned, really all in all, just working itself into this channel. We are in this lower channel again. We have the 200 to kind of overcome, so to speak, as a next major resistance. But for now, not in bad shape at all. We do have that roughly 5% increase that occurred overnight, depending on your location. And essentially, that's where we're at right now. We do see a slight sell-off occurring right now, of course, a little bit of retracement. That is pretty standard for the fact that we had, what, 4 or 5? No, that's 4 solid green candle bars, right? So good amount of growth, got to be happy with it. I'm not surprised to see this bit of retracement. All right, so moving on to Ethereum. Ethereum is looking pretty good here as well. As we can see, the most recent increase followed by a state of consolidation, and it tried to increase again, but kind of got rejected, so to speak. Here at this approximate level, about 2250. Good news is price is up over the 50-day moving average, but holding below the 200. And the similar aspect here to Bitcoin. Really, we have this this kind of channel right now, right at about, I would say 2270 is pretty close to a major resistance level. So we'll see if it breaks through there here soon. That might occur, but for now, Ethereum is working itself again kind of sideways for the moment. And we have 1700 is the support and 2900 as the major resistance. All right, let's take a look at Titan. And first, we always look at the big picture and work our way down. All right, so taking a look at this here, this is interesting. If you see how much volume we had and it's kind of tapered off, that's interesting to me in the sense that it's likely going to retrace soon, just because of the fact that when you have low volume and high price increase, that basically just means that the bulls are in complete control. The bears are just waiting to jump on in. So just be mindful. You got to be careful in this kind of scenario. That's why we always look at the one-day chart to kind of see the overall momentum. And so far, there hasn't been a lot of volume in the last month. Okay, so just something to be mindful of. But good news is we're up over the 50 and the 200. So essentially, there's some great news there. RSI is peaking up over 70, so that isn't something to kind of note as well. There's a chance that we could see retracement based on that alone. Again, we don't only make decisions based on the one-day chart, but it does help to understand kind of what that looks like, right? All right, looking here as well, we can see a swing from the MACD that occurred, on the 30th. So roughly 3 days ago, we saw that difference. So, if you had caught that signal, that would have been a good entry point. Oftentimes, the MACD on the 4-hour or the 1-day chart is a very good indication of a buy signal for a long position if you're considering a swing trade. So that would have been a good indication of a buy signal. But all in all, not looking too bad here for the 1-day chart. Let's look at the 4-hour chart for Titan. Now this is interesting here. Again, this isn't a lot of strength because of how slow it's swinging here, but we do have basically a reverse death cross, if you want to call it that. It's basically considered a golden cross where the 50 comes up and swings upwards through the 200 in that sense. And as you can kind of tell, we saw an increase a further increase because of that. I don't believe that happened exactly for that reason. It was just a continuation of the bull run, but that is important to note here because those do affect price action sometimes. But great news, price is up over the 200. You can see it working as a support level here on the 30th. That's when the MACD had swung over. We had that convergence on the MACD on the 1-day chart here. And then we see the 50 is kind of working its way up. So we should continue to see the 50 come up and work as a support. But just bear in mind, and I didn't notice or didn't note this before, we have a pretty major resistance level coming up here. So just be mindful of that. $6.93 has been tested 3 times and rejected. It blew past it here, of course, but that was May 13th. That was the day after the first elon candle for Tesla withdrawing Bitcoin from their available methods of payment. So there's that as well. So just keep that in mind. But moving back to the 4-hour, we are up over RSI as well. So again, if you're familiar with my RSI training or just in general how that works, you never want to sell your position once the RSI comes up over 70. Say you had right here, you would have lost out because of the fact that there's a lot more growth opportunity, right? The key is to consider, again, just consider, depends on the bull run, the selling your position or trimming your position when the RSI comes back down under 70, right? So right here would have been a consideration where it retraced back down, but it kept going. And right here coming up soon is another consideration to consider selling. Because if you're profitable right now, what's the likelihood of Titan coming up and passing 695 when all Bitcoin is doing right now is going sideways, right? So again, just something to be aware of, be mindful of. Bitcoin did increase overnight, roughly right around this point here, so that's why we're seeing this right now. So just say Bitcoin continues to progress. It passes the 200-day moving average and 36,500, then open season for Titan, we should see that be tested and possibly broken through. But do I feel like we're going to see that right away or soon without any further movement from Bitcoin? Probably not. All right, so we got this red candle right here, and we also have a red candle from Bitcoin. There's likely a correlation, but also the simple fact that it's increased a lot, and it's up over the RSI over 70, and that's a strong indication of a sell signal. So I do like overall the big picture so far, but I do think that it's overinflated for the moment. It could very well come retracing back down. But again, just depends on how things factor out for Bitcoin. Looking at the 15-minute chart, as we can see this major red candle here, the slight retracement, or the start of retracement perhaps, it is holding up over, correction, we're just going to go ahead and remove that. Because usually when it comes to the moving averages, I don't really bother with using them on shorter time frames. I prefer an exponential moving average, the EMA 15, and the volume weighted average price, which is this blue line here. So just to clarify, if you're new to the channel, or in general you don't know what VWAP is, it's a volume weighted average price. It takes the the volume in the last 24 hours and expresses it as a price. Okay, so in the last 24 hours, it's been working as a support level. That's effectively the purpose of the VWAP, is to work as a consistent support and resistance level. So it's really nice in that sense. As we're breaking this here, there's a strong chance it'll work as a resistance and push the price back down. But as of right now, the price is at $6.01, whereas the volume weighted average price tells us the price should be at $6.15, $6.14. Okay. Furthermore, the EMA is this red line here. That's an exponential moving average. That just tells us that the bulls are in control essentially, because when the price is over the EMA, it kind of works. You see how it's kind of working as a support level. It comes down, tests it, bounces off, keeps testing and bouncing. That's an indication that the bulls are in control, right? The inverse can be applied as well when it goes the opposite direction and it's trending below the line. So there's something to be mindful of. So for me, to take entry, I always like to recommend getting confirmation, right? You want to have good confirmation knowing that you're heading in the right direction. So let's just take an example and kind of look back here. There's a few examples, of course, but we'll just kind of take this one here. So if you see these green bars here, right, we got like 5, 6 green bars in a row. That's a good sign that the bulls are kind of taking control of that time frame. Now, hour and a half, we have the only green candles. But the key is to make sure that you take entry above EMA and VWAP, right? So you see these two yellows here, these two little yellow up arrows. That's basically indicating the fact that that is confirmation above those two lines because the price is moving in the direction of the bulls. Okay, so hypothetically, that would be a great entry point. Furthermore, if you look up here and you see this first retracement here where the price came back down and it bounced off of the EMA line, that would be a second confirmation to possibly either add to your position or to consider maybe trimming if you were just ready to get out. I prefer to add to my position in this case because, again, RSI, see how it's kind of just trending above this line but below the 70? That's a great sign, okay? So ultimately, I always recommend waiting for good confirmation, and to me, confirmation is 30 minutes above EMA and VWAP. Okay? Now again, it's not exact science, it's not guaranteed, because as you can see back here, this did give you another signal, right? Okay, this is a good time to get in. Had you got in, it would have came up and came right back down. You know, if you didn't trim your position or sell your position, somewhere in this range, you could have essentially lost all of your gains, right? So again, there's other factors involved. That's why you don't just use the 15-minute time frame and this one, tactic, so to speak. You look at the one-day chart, work your way down, understand the big picture first, because right now we can tell that it's completely overextended. There's a good chance it's going to continue downwards. Okay. So again, just be mindful of that. So I mean, my prediction for Titan is that if Bitcoin, again, pretty much this is the same scenario for a lot of coins right now. If Bitcoin keeps going sideways right now and stays under 36,500, we're probably going to see Titan stay under this major resistance level of, what did I mark here? It's at $6.93. So that's what's going to happen moving forward. So if this takes another run and keeps coming up, it will probably get rejected at 693 again, unless Bitcoin can break 65,000. Correction, 65,000 would be nice. 36,500 is what it was. Yeah, 36.5 is a major resistance level for Bitcoin right now. So if Bitcoin can pass 36.5, then we'll see Titan probably test 693. But until then, there's no good entry point right now. It's likely going to continue to retrace. Just based on this metrics alone, you can see that the price is under EMA, under VWAP. It's not a good entry point unless this price can jump right back up here in the next couple of candle bars, another 30-40 minutes, maybe just say an hour. If I can stay above and hold above, maybe a different story, but there's no indication of a buy signal right now. This might be a decent short opportunity. Okay, again, just be mindful of these things when you're taking entry. Be careful, be cautious. I like to say be cautiously optimistic, because these are, there are good things about Titan, but I can tell you that right now I think it's overinflated and a bit too high. I hope it continues to increase, but I don't foresee that happening just based on Bitcoin, kind of slowly working its way up right now. But again, Bitcoin goes 36,500 and past, shoots for 42,000, and we're going to be, again, seeing Titan testing 693 soon, very soon. Okay, so hopefully you found this beneficial. If so, please consider liking and subscribing. If you haven't already, join my Telegram community. Feel free to reference that. There's good, awesome, free information there, as well as my link to my Patreon account, so you can essentially get all the good signals that you need throughout the week. We currently have about an 85% success rate. So thank you to all of my community members for joining me there and believing in me and showing your support. You're all very awesome. Love you guys. Thank you so much. All right, moving forward, hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you.